Friends, let me introduce myself first. I am D.V. Jahagirdar. I was professor of chemistry and head of the department of chemistry, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University. I taught postgraduate classes for almost 40 years. I visited USA twice as a postdoctoral fellow and was University of Georgia at Atlanta and University of Delaware at Newark. I also visited Finland as a UGC visiting professor around 1990 and stayed there for 2 months. Almost 14 students have got PhD with me and have published 92 papers in scientific journals. In addition to this teaching and research, I got a habit of writing scientific literature and scientific fictions. Have published around 16 books of science fictions and have written several articles which have been published in Maharashtra Times, Lok Satta, and several Diwali issues of popular magazines. I was nominated as the ideal teacher by the government of Maharashtra for the year 1996. This introduction of mine will suffice for the time being. Let me go to the subject. Already we had done introduction of this subject in last 2 lectures. I have given you a full understanding of the subject of environment and told you the importance of this particular subject because it is a multidisciplinary approach. It covers nature and studies nature in its full extreme. Environment is that which surrounds us. It is in the form of trees, it is in the form of birds, it is in the form of stars. It is everywhere. All living and non-living material that is around us is our environment. And we are given idea, or we have got idea about this environment in the last 2 lectures. They were therefore introduction of this vast topic, which is of vital importance to us and have got a significance, especially in Indian context. Today I am going to speak on the resources, ecosystems, and various types of energy sources in the 2 lectures that I shall be delivering today. Friends, ecosystem is that biotic and abiotic in nature which surrounds us, which have got a real existence under identical conditions. Our air is a abiotic system, or a biotic system are living creatures, animals. This is a part of nature. Nature manifests itself in various forms. It is present as plants, it is present as beautiful birds, it is present as flowing river. What is beautiful about nature is that nature is very vast, encompassing, gigantic in nature, and it is very beautiful. The beauty of nature can be appreciated if you love to flowers, visit any garden or see the flower very carefully, you will understand the mighty nature. Nature never repeats. We have got so many seasons, fall season, winter season, and in every season there is a change of weather and climate. If you go to a garden and if you say different colors, these colors actually are of different nature, but each color actually beautifies you and makes you pleasant and happy. This particular happiness that you imbibe by seeing natural things is what is called internal happiness, or happiness that you get as a soul. Look at the rose flower, how beautiful it looks. Despite the fact that rose plant has thorns, we often admire the rose flower. Several other flowers which are in the garden are appreciable by us. This particularly is a part of nature, or one of the qualities of nature. The other quality of nature is its vastness, its gigantic structure. But despite of this gigantic irregular structure, nature impresses you. If you look at a very big mountain, the mountain is never symmetrical. It is not spherical, it is not conical, but still you appreciate it only because of its gigantic nature. If you go to Grand Canyon in USA and you feel the depth of the canyon, so deep in nature, so gigantic in nature, but you will appreciate it, the might of nature. Remember one thing, nature is not symmetrical, nature is only gigantic. But the gigantic part of a nature appeals us to the extreme, while man-made things are highly symmetrical. Taj Mahal is symmetrical, Qutub Minar is symmetrical, pyramids are symmetrical. Symmetry is a part made by man. This symmetry is in the form of a triangle, in the form of a circle, in the form of an ellipse, but nature is never symmetrical. As they say in a proverb, that clouds are not spherical and lightning is not conical. There is no symmetry, but despite of unsymmetrical nature, the gigantic qualities appeal us because they have a permanent impression in our mind through our eyes. Therefore, we must take great care of nature and see that we do not pollute nature. Have you seen Ganges flow at any time in Haridwar or Allahabad? I am specifically talking about Haridwar. When the Ganges flows as a river, it flows so powerfully. Or have you seen big tides in the seas? They also came very powerfully as a big mountain. All these natural things or the laws of nature are such that they appeal you very much. So that you must take care which is maximum. Several people amongst us are fascinated by this quality of nature. I will quote only one example. You might have heard the name of Jane Goodall. After graduating from Cambridge, she and her mother went to African forest to look for chimpanzees. She wanted to study chimpanzees and to study in detail such that the social structure, family structure of chimpanzees was to be understood by her. You will not believe, she lived among them almost for a period of 8 years. It was a very tenacious experience. She used to go early in the morning, sat on a hilltop and look out the chimpanzees in order to get them acquainted. Because the chimpanzee should never feel that she is a stranger. This particular time period for her was almost 1 year she was doing this. When the chimpanzees got understanding that somebody is watching them and she is friendly towards them, she started approaching them. She went closer and closer until she touched the chimpanzees. They become her friends. She loved them as families. Every day she used to go with banana and feed them. She stayed there for another 2 years and studied the family culture, social life, eating habits, and other types of habits of the chimpanzees, and wrote a book on this, Life of Chimpanzees. Believe me, a young girl of 19-year-old with a fascination and affection only for animals. So one should have got this particular fascination in order to appreciate nature, and this particular fascination is an outcome of devotion and hard work. The National Geographic magazine has completely taken care of her endeavor and attempts, and Jane Goodall has been given gold medal for her work, which has been acclaimed throughout, and now we say that she is supposed to be authority on chimpanzees. What I wanted to quote this, or why I wanted to quote this example of chimpanzee, is because of the fact that you must love nature. Poets love nature. The famous poem of Wordsworth about daffodils is known to all of us. The various poems in Marathi literature by Keshava Soot are known to all of us. Hirave hirave gala galiche harita turancha naukeche. All these will tell us that nature is bountiful, beautiful, and we must admire it. So it is the job of a human being or ourselves to take care of nature. Do not pollute nature. Do not harm it. Do not be careless about it. And most important, do not be cruel upon it. I will quote a very simple example. We use flowers number of times in the form of garden, in the form of big garlands, and offer these garlands to God and goddesses during festivals. After the festival is over, these garlands or flowers are mostly thrown out. They are wet and they go in garbage. This particular garbage is of two forms. One is dry, other is wet. If you do not proper care to remove this garbage properly, it is responsible for the formation of microbes and bacteria. This bacteria is harmful to us. What is therefore is very important is that you must take the flowers at the extreme care and use them carefully. So if you look to all these natural qualities, additional thing is when we have a fall of leaves after they get dry, they fall in a random manner on the soil. The whole picture looks very shabby unless and until we collect them, put in a proper place. They will be of no use to us. So we have to keep our surroundings also very clean. That is why our respected Prime Minister has given a slogan, Keep India Clean. This cleanliness is one of the very important aspects which students should bear into mind, and it should be our regular habits. What I would like to feel or appeal to you through this particular lecture is, see that you remain clean and you make others clean also. Several of our habits are not good. What we do is that after eating pan or chewing pan, we throw out, and this particular throw is being put actually on the roads. The roads therefore get dirty. This dirtiness uncleans the society. But this habit has to be imbibed as a child. So it should be taught in the schools. What I would request to all of you, all the students, to teach their younger brother, younger sisters about the cleanliness and taking all precautions such that our society, our roads, our villages and our cities remain clean. The attempts to make these particular cities and clean are made by several agencies, and these agencies are very popular. One is the Bombay Natural History Society, formed in 1883. This is almost more than 100 years old, but it is doing human service to teach the importance of pollution. It publishes books. They have published books of Daniels on reptiles, Salim Ali on birds, and they published a magazine known as Hornbill, which tells you about the importance of pollution. Then there are several other magazines coming from Coimbatore, Zoological Society of India from Calcutta, Botanical Society of India from Calcutta, Kalpavruksha coming from Pune, and there is a magazine coming from Bharati Vidyapit. All these magazines actually tell the same thing, but the magazines, in addition to that, Kalpavruksha and Bharati Vidyapit have courses on pollution and environment. They organize small type of seminars, small programs and lectures on this particular aspect. Several people have sacrificed their life to tell the importance of this particular work, and we must get acquainted with this type of work. Mention must be made of Salim Ali, who is supposed to be authority on birds. He has got an institution in Uttar Pradesh. Our Prime Minister ex-Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was very particular about this, and she was keen that this particular topic of environment should be important in the schools and should be understood carefully by the students. She was a jealous advocate of this particular thing and tried very hard to make all the world aware of these particular facilities. Among the Maharashtrian people, we have Madhav Gadgil, Medha Patkar, those who are social workers, especially Medha Patkar and Madhav Gadgil. They write abundantly, and Medha Patkar had worked very well for looking to the inhabitations or habitation, rehabilitation of Adivasis due to the increased height of Sardar Sarovar project. But I would like to appeal to the students on one more aspect. Nowadays, there is a lot of information on this pollution and environment on newspapers. So many magazines like Marathi Vidyan Patrika or Nature. So all of you should make it a habit of reading the newspapers. Yesterday only in Lok Satta, regularly they are publishing articles of Madhav Gadgil. What I would say is that each student should take a note that he will be good in one particular aspect. Means suppose you are interested in water pollution. Whatever the material that is published on water pollution in various journals and newspapers should be understood by you. You should have cutting of that particular thing and you should make a file of that. So that in a class, one particular fellow will be expert in water pollution, other will be expert in carbon dioxide pollution, third will be expert on industrial pollution, and fourth will be expert on social habits of pollution. You should meet once in a month and discuss these problems amongst yourself. If you discuss these problems amongst yourself, you will understand the significance of all these problems. You have discussions amongst you, and this discussion will definitely be helpful because you will be versatile in nature. That means you will not be understanding your own problem, but problems of other branches also. This was the aim of pollution studies or environmental studies. We want to encompass all the subjects, and all the subjects should be covered by it. This is known as a vision. Vision aspect or visionary aspect has been covered entirely in your book. The vision is look for the global environment. So we had several conferences about the environmental aspects. One very important was in Rio de Janeiro in 1993. Almost 130 countries participated in that. They wanted to have a legal aspect of these environmental studies, awakening of pollution throughout the world, understanding the privileges of every country because of the several problems that is coming up. The several problems, and one of the problems I can quote. The industries in USA have got tremendous amount of wastages, and no province in USA is going to accept that wastage, what is called garbage. So the company actually has got a contract with Brazil, and company was to deposit and say by sending all the garbage to Brazil. The Brazilian people got an understanding of this. They got ferocious, wild, and protested on this particular aspect. So that the whole thing has to be cancelled. What I want to lay is the rich country are throwing their garbages on the poor country, and the poor country has to take the precaution so that the garbage doesn't come to them. The awakening of this particular aspect was a part of the phenomena discussed in the conference of Rio. Similarly, in the month of December, in the first week we had a conference at Peru in Lima. In all these conferences, prime ministers and presidents of various countries visit because every country has understood the significance of environment. Why it is very important is, specifically there should not be a neglect of pollution by the poor countries. At the same time, there should not be a burden of throwing garbages by the rich country on the poor countries. Believe me, in pollution studies, one very important aspect about richness. In society also, those people who are rich in a particular country, they throw their garbages because the amount of garbage they carry is huge. What we know is that in our olden times, that means 50 years before, we were not so much we were very not using so much material. Our food habits were very simple. We were not using so much paper. So our garbage per our house was not much. Nowadays, everybody is using tissue papers, newspapers. Tremendous amount of food is being wasted. You will not believe, one of our professors from our university had been to USA sometime in 1950s. After he returned, I still remember his lecture. In that lecture he has said that what I marked really was the huge wastage of food by the youths of USA or in the university campus. That means they will take huge amount of food in the dish and do not use it, just throw it. This particular thing which you had observed 50 years before is now common with us also. If you go to any big hotels or big restaurants, you will find that people, they ask for so many things which they do not utilize or do not eat. This particular tendency is more common during festivals or marriage seasons. In marriage season, because you have to stand in line and nobody wants to go further or first stand in line for the second time, he or she takes abundant, exaggerated quantity of food in the plate. If you look at the plate of that particular person, you will feel laughing. You will feel very shabby because it is just like a mountain of rice. Believe me, he has not taken to eat. He has taken because he feels that it will be less or he will not get it if he goes for the second time. What he does is, he eats a part of it and throws the remaining. If you can calculate theoretically, I think 1/5 of the food is wasted like that. This particular food is very costly. So make it a habit. If you want to be very economical and if you want to serve the nation, then you have to make this particular habit of being very economical in your eating. Do not throw away anything and learn the Gospels which has been taught by our grandmothers, that you should not waste any type of food. Or if you waste, or if you do not use that particular food, it will be helpful to any other poor person who is very close by. Looking after this vision and understanding the environment, the second point which you have to study now is the various types of conditions or environmental procedures which you have got. We have got surrounding us a very powerful thing known as atmosphere. Atmosphere is not visible to us in the form of air. Air is not visible, but it is present. Air is mainly consisting of oxygen, nitrogen, and a very small quantity of inert gases. Almost 12 kilometers away from us, or surface of Earth, we have got a region of air or atmosphere which is called troposphere. If you go up, we have got a region which is 30 kilometers away from us, which is called stratosphere. And in stratosphere, we have got ozone layer. This ozone layer is very important for us and our livings. Sometimes we hear in the newspaper or read in the newspaper that there is a hole in the ozone layer, and that is why ultraviolet light impinges on the earth. Let me explain to you what is this ultraviolet light, what is this visible light. As all of you are aware, sun is a very powerful source of energy. The energy emitted by sun in 1 hour is just sufficient for all of us or one particular individual almost for a year. The sun is so powerful. Its surface temperature is almost 6,000 degrees centigrade. But its inside temperature is millions of degrees centigrade. The sun shines every day and is an asset to us. Believe me, this is an asset to our country, because there are several countries in the northern part of this globe which do not have sun so bright and for such a long time. This has been a great kindness of nature on us. Sun throws the radiation known as ultraviolet, visible. Fortunately for us, ultraviolet light doesn't reach us. Only visible light reaches us, because in our atmosphere we have got an ozone layer. This particular ozone layer absorbs the ultraviolet light. Visible light has got the wavelength which is measured in angstrom unit of 4,000 to 8,000 angstrom units. Ultraviolet light has got an energy wavelength 1,500 to 4,000 angstrom unit. higher the wavelength, lesser the energy. So lower the wavelength, higher the energy. Ultraviolet light of 2000 angstrom unit will have a double the energy than visible light of 4000 energy. When you in summer, when you look or go outside, you will feel the scorching heat of sunlight. The heat is so powerful that you will create a burning sensation of your skin. If ultraviolet light falls on us, we will get a burning sensation of our skin and it will damage our skin as well. Fortunately for us, this ultraviolet light is completely getting absorbed by the ozone layer which is present in the stratosphere. The atmosphere is never steady. It is continuously moving. That is why we say it is in dynamic equilibrium. It is not static in nature. That is why the water cycle or the rain cycle is functioning very well, which you shall be seeing later on when we come to water. But this particular formation of clouds and falling of clouds in the form of rain is coming to the atmosphere through the dynamic equilibrium. It is therefore our responsibility that we should take utmost care of the existence and stability of the ozone layer. The ozone layer should never get tarnished or should never get diminished. But the ozone layer gets diminished because of the industrial effluents coming from the heavy industries. That is why we have to be very careful in monitoring the industrial effluents, especially powerful smokes, so that the ozone layer remains intact. What is very interesting is, because the atmosphere is continuously moving, this particular atmosphere can take the smoke not only in the industrial area region but outside also. So please remember one thing, it is not in the industrial area covering 1 square kilometer or 2 square kilometer which is affecting by the smoke. The smoke can go anywhere and can have an effect. One very interesting thing which I am tempted to tell you. Previously we were not believing that atmosphere is moving. We are saying that it is steady because we are looking in the atmosphere and you never feel that atmosphere is moving. It is Einstein who said that atmosphere also is moving. He gave a very simple example that suppose you are moving in a plane and you are in London, and as the earth is moving, your atmosphere is moving, so automatically after 12 hours you should be in India. It never happens, you remain in London only. That means the atmosphere also is moving. One very interesting thing about atmosphere, which is also of a close significance to environmental studies, is the greenhouse effect. The sun's light actually is so powerful and heats the earth. The earth is made of soil. The soil gets heated up. And one of the qualities of the soil is that the soil reverberates the heat, means it throws away the heat back. This heat actually which is present in the atmosphere, along with carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere which is thrown by human beings when we exhale air. As all of you know very well, we inhale air, we exhale air. When we exhale air, we throw out carbon dioxide. This particular carbon dioxide is being absorbed by plants around us. This carbon dioxide is required by the plants for the phenomena of photosynthesis. So plants and animals which are the part of ecosystem, how to live together in order to grow and in order to live a healthy life. That is why forests are important. We are talking about the greenhouse effect. This particular heat is being thrown rapidly by the earth. And if this particular heat remains in the atmosphere, it remains in the atmosphere with carbon dioxide being thrown by the effluents in industries in the form of a thick layer. And this thick layer obstructs the incoming heat from the soil. This is known as the greenhouse effect, and that is called warming up of the earth. Warming up of the earth is a very important topic. It is going to affect us because, as you know, all of you, that rainy season is not regular nowadays. It has been observed that the irregularity of rainy season is going on since last 10 years. You cannot predict the behavior of rain very, very accurately despite of electronic gadgetry and computer network. This is because some inherent difficulties with us. The possibility of understanding accurately the behavior of rain is a cumulative effect of almost 26 parameters. And Dr. Gowarikar has studied all these parameters, and we could predict the behavior of incoming rain. But even that is not very accurate because our industries are going, our population is increasing, and that is why the earth is getting warmer. This heat of the earth or warmth of the earth, if it goes in the upper atmosphere and stops there, this is known as a greenhouse effect. Green is word coming from the vegetation, and the greenhouse actually is coming because of the fact that in countries like Norway and Sweden or even in Britain, the sun is not very powerful. The sun is very mild. I had a chance to see the sun almost for a period of 1 month in the month of November in Finland. You will not believe, I could see the sun only for 20-30 minutes in one full day, only for 3 days in a span of 1 month. The sun was very mild. The sun was very docile. I didn't feel the heat of the sun. That is why in USA or Norway, if you happen to meet your friend in the morning and there is a sunlight, he will invariably say, "Oh, it is a very fine morning," which we never say in India, "It is very fine morning," because it is already there. Our sunlight is so powerful that mornings are very pleasant with us. These mornings are not pleasant with them unless sun is there. And if they see the sun, they always say that sun is very powerful and the morning is very fine. They want to preserve their plants or flowers. That is why they built or they have got what is called greenhouse. In the greenhouse, the sunlight actually is coming through the windows and the glass panes of the house, heats the whole room, which is almost closed, and flowers are kept in the room. The heat generated in the flowers on the soil is deposited in the greenhouse. This particular heat is not allowed to leave. That is why the house is called greenhouse. Greenhouse effect therefore has to be taken into account, and we should see that There is no effect on us, and this effect will not be felt unless we throw effluent in the atmosphere. So we have seen the atmosphere which is full of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitric oxide, nitric gases. We go to the next part, what is called hydrosphere. Hydrosphere is the water atmosphere in the universe. Water is present in sea, in rivers, in ponds and in wells. Sea water is not useful for drinking. Though it is very abundant in nature, it is almost 70%. The remaining 20-23% is our ordinary water, which is not salty, but that is not also useful to the human beings because most of it is deposited in ice caps. The warmth or warm, that is world, or world is getting warmer. One of the deadly effect of this is that the snow in our ice caps is getting melted. And if the snow gets melted, then the life of the white bear, which are abundantly present in Alaska and that region, will be in great jeopardy or in danger. And the warmth will be felt by us. So we have to take utmost care of our water. Water is present in wells. Believe me, sea water was not salty in the beginning, when the earth was formed. But the rain actually which came on the earth hit the rocks. There was no soil in the beginning. There were only rocks and big mountains. The rain fell very sharp. It hit the mountains and took away the salts of the mountains, with the result that the salt got deposited on the water. This water went to the sea, and sea started getting saltier and saltier through the millions of years, so that salt deposit, now it is finalized. That is why in sea we get abundant amount of sodium and potassium. This particular sodium and potassium has been deposited in the soil, in the bodies of fish. And all of you are aware in biochemistry that human life came in the form of a cell. And one particular cell was formed in water or close to it on a seashore. That is why we are very fortunate that it was formed on the seashore, because in our bodies we have got calcium, sodium and potassium, which are very light elements. Calcium is present abundantly with us in the form of bones. Sodium and potassium also is present. And we do not have any hard metals in our bodies. Metals like iron, nickel, cobalt, titanium or stannic, which are harmful to human bodies, are not present with us. They are present in microgram levels or even less than that. But these metals are present in seawater or in a deep sea. The sea fishes, therefore, have got living cells, and they are therefore used as food material by the human beings. What I was talking was, the sea water cannot be used, ice water cannot be used, so you have got only 3% of water which can be used as a potable water. The water that we drink must be colorless, odorless, tasteless and free from bacteria. Free from bacteria is a very important thing that we have to bear in mind. Apparently water may be looking clean. There may not be odor in the water, but it may be having bacteria in water. All the diseases like jaundice, typhoid, they are the outcome of the material that is coming from the stomach. And this particular material is being swallowed by us by drinking water. So you have to be extremely careful during rainy season. At number of cities and villages, the sewage pipes are very close to water pipes. And the sewage pipes, once they get corroded after years to use, the sewage gets leaked in the water pipes. And the water that is approaching you or coming to your house gets contaminated. This contamination of water is responsible for the diseases like jaundice. One has therefore to take care maximum that water you drink should be absolutely free from bacteria. This particular precaution, if everybody takes it, then we will have no diseases. Is it possible? It is not possible because we are not getting clean water. Those people who can use aquaguards and water washing machines like that, they can get clean water, but poor people who use tap water in a common tap, for them it is very difficult to get clean water. And they suffer from this type of disease to a great extent. And we have to take care that they do not suffer, because once they suffer from this particular disease, they are admitted in the hospital and they are given medicines. So it is a big cycle like that. If you want to prevent the use of medicines, if you want to prevent the diseases, you have to take a maximum care of water. Remember one thing, if you eat hot food, it may not damage that much, but if you eat contaminated water, it will damage your body to a great extent. This particular water which is thrown in a nala or a sewage, and one very interesting habit with all of us, which as students you have to bear in mind. We collectively gather together in a very large number during festivals, melas like Kumbh Mela, or a holy festival like Ekadashi. So many people gathering in a very small place. They do two things which is natural, that is defacing themselves or easing themselves or going to toilet and urinating themselves. They urinate on the road, they toilet on the road, with the result that whole city gets stink, air, and the whole atmosphere is full of stinking air. This precaution we have to take to a maximum extent, so that I will appeal to every student who is hearing this lecture that he should take an oath on himself that he will not urinate on the road and he will not allow others to urinate on the road. This particular basic cleanliness has not been understood by us, and you may be reading, if you are very carefully as a reader in newspaper, there will be several our small girls have to stop going into schools because schools do not have a facility of a toilet. So they cannot remain in school or classroom for 6 to 8 hours without going to a toilet. What is happening is that we have not understood the significance of these small things in our daily life. A very interesting advertisement which you might have seen on TVs is A bride is refusing to marry a bridegroom because he doesn't have a toilet in his house. This particular oath should be taken by every girl. This aspect of hygiene was understood by European people and most of the people in North America. That is why their houses, their roads remain extremely clean and children do not suffer from jaundice. This is a question of practice. I will tell you a very simple story. You might have heard the name of Dr. Ramanujan, the greatest mathematician India has ever produced. He was studying in South India in his house, which was very small house, and used to study mathematics and solve problems and theorems by sitting in a veranda. Below that particular wooden block, there was a garbage flow through a nala. It was really stinking at that time, but he never felt it because he had a habit of doing it, sitting there. When Ramanujan went to England and saw the cleanliness there during 1921, that means almost 80 years before, in his very first letter he wrote to his father that please cover the nala and see that the garbage is removed properly and the stinking doesn't reach you. That means the concept of cleanliness will imbibe by us when we say what is cleanliness is and what happiness it brings to you. If you are not seeing cleanliness, then you cannot appreciate it. You will not believe in London. I say London is a very scientific city. When you come out of the tube railway and you are on the platform and then you go up the stairs and come on the road, the first thing on the left will be toilet. This toilet actually will be so much helpful for all the people who come to the train. This practice is followed throughout the country. You are not to ask where the toilet is. So scientific discipline, scientific spirit and scientific attitude, if it is imbibed in our society, then the society can bring cleanliness. But a cleanliness also must be a habit with every individual. And as students, you have to cultivate this habit. And if you cultivate this habit, you will make your life clean and life of all your younger brothers clean. About hydrosphere, we are talking. Then we have got lithosphere. Lithosphere is a region of soil where minerals are present. And minerals are present below the surface of the earth. They are present in the earth's crust. The heavy metals are present much below the earth's crust and they are to be mined. Mining itself is a very big industry and mining is responsible for a great amount of pollution. This great amount of pollution is because, in the coal mines especially, is because of the fact that when you are grinding coal or boring coal rock, there is a lot of dust coming from the coal. And this particular dust flows out. So the cities where coal mining is taking place, you will find always dark fumes actually completely covering the atmosphere. This particular aspect therefore makes the city unclean. At the same time, there is a pollution of this particular hazardous material in the city which is affecting the human health. The other mines are the iron mines, all have to be taken into account. We have seen atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, stratosphere is the strata of soil that we take. In India, the soil that we have got is of different type. We got very fertile land, the land which is infertile and full of desert in Rajasthan. India is blessed with various types of foods because it has got various types of lands. The land moisture is very important. Land, moisture and vegetation is a part of an environment, and that is a part of an ecosystem. We have to take the care of everything, and unless and until we take care of the things and remove pollution, we are not serving or doing our best as an environmentalist. We have to read the literature of all the great men which I have told you and see that you keep India extremely clean, keep your country clean.